There is a book that is praised as follows: the process of reading it is like exploring every tiny centimeter in the space of the soul. The deeper, the darker, the more silent, so you can hear the thunder in the place of silence. Hi dear, hello everyone, welcome to MYBED, a channel that shares knowledge to develop yourself comprehensively through other books. This week, I would like to share with you a very professional but also very easy to read psychotherapy book called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. This book swept all the major lists as soon as it was released. It was listed as one of the top 10 best-selling books of the year on Amazon in the United States and is a book recommended by Harvard Business School to read annually. It is also translated into over 40 languages around the world that called Maybe You Should See a Therapist. I will leave detailed information about this book in the video description. The book Maybe You Should Talk to Someone is a very worthwhile psychotherapy book to read. It not only provides professional knowledge about psychology but also brings readers true and moving stories. The book will help you better understand yourself and find ways to heal the wounds in your soul. The author of this book is Lori Gottlieb, a writer and senior psychotherapist. After graduating from college, she worked as a screenwriter in Hollywood, participating in the production of the television series Francis Legend and a series of other films. But then she changed her direction and passed the entrance exam to medical school. After that, she continued to pass the exam and studied for a master's degree in clinical psychology and officially became a professional psychotherapist. Because she is a writer and screenwriter, the content of the stories in this book is very engaging and interesting. And also, because she is a professional psychotherapist, in this memoir she shares stories about her patients. In the small space of the clinic, people will show the most honest and vulnerable aspects of themselves. And from the author's stories, you will gain more perspectives to better understand yourself. Here are 5 stories, 4 of which are about 4 of her patients, and especially one is a story of psychological healing from the author herself. It is surprising that even a professional psychotherapist has to find someone to talk to. Therefore, even you and me, at some point, and maybe right now, we should find someone we trust to talk to. But if you can't find anyone, you still have yourself, and this book will also be a companion to help you find the best way to heal yourself. And no matter what, as psychologist Carl Jung said, only those who dare to face their souls will truly awaken, and the only one who can heal your wounds will always be yourself. For questions throughout life. Introduction. In Buddhism, life and the whole journey of birth and death are only suffering. All sentient beings who exist in this world cannot escape the law of suffering. These sufferings are likened to demons living inside each person by Dr. Lori Gottlieb, a psychologist and author. We all have our own demons, big or small, new or old, quiet or noisy. No matter how the demons inside us change, the essence of us can be summarized into 4 themes of life, namely loneliness, death, limited freedom, and meaninglessness. In psychology, these 4 themes are also called the 4 last questions of life. Loneliness. There is a very true saying like this: no man is an island, but everyone has to become an island at times. This feeling is loneliness. If a person immerses themselves in the feeling of loneliness for too long, they may fall into despair, delusion, and hallucination. At this time, even in a large crowd, surrounded by so many people, even on a crowded street, we still feel empty and do not feel any support or comfort. Death. Everyone thinks that this life is a one-way train. The final destination of the journey that awaits us is death. Therefore, when nearing the destination, people are very reluctant to get off. Hesitant because of fear. But actually it's not afraid of death itself, but afraid of losing, afraid of having to regret and have to end what is related to it. That is family, loved ones, property, career, achievements, etc. Limited freedom. When we are born, we are all like a blank sheet of paper, containing infinite possibilities. We can paint on it the most free and independent wishes. But as we grow older, we are trapped on a rigid path, among thousands of rules, prejudices, and social bias. The more we walk, the fewer choices we have. The difficulties in choosing a career, social competition, family pressure, or invisible expectations make a person's freedom of choice increasingly narrowed. Meaninglessness. The master of psychology Freud believed that humans tend to seek happiness and avoid pain. However, after him, there is another famous psychologist named Viktor Frankl. He believed that the main driving force for humans to move forward is not happiness but the pursuit of the meaning of life. Once you doubt the meaning of your life, and once you cannot find the meaning of life, you are very likely to become depressed, or even fall into the abyss of collapse. Conclusion. It can be said that these 4 questions are also the 4 things that we may have to spend our whole lives looking for answers. It brings all sorts of suffering to our lives, but it is also the key that allows you to open the door to a new page of life. This is also the point of ending ignorance and suffering. On this journey, we must both learn to grow up and learn how to heal ourselves. Finding answers through the perspective of psychotherapy is also one of the methods to help us liberate and reconcile with ourselves. Psychologist Irvin Yalom said that psychotherapy is an existential experience of self-understanding. It can help us face the 4 final problems of life, create change, and become a better version of ourselves. In simple terms, psychotherapy is the release of pain and helps us escape from a difficult, helpless state. Of course, it cannot help us solve all the difficult problems in life, but it can help you see the world from a different perspective, from which to find solutions to make life less troublesome and less painful. Additional thoughts. In addition to the 4 questions mentioned above, there are also other questions that we may encounter throughout our lives. These questions can be about our relationships, our careers, our health, or our spirituality. While there is no one-size-fits-all answer to these questions, it is important to ask them and seek out answers that are meaningful to us. By doing so, we can live more fulfilling and meaningful lives. Taking off the mask that makes you lonely. John is a successful Hollywood producer. He has a perfect life, a successful career, a happy family. But behind the glamorous exterior, John is suffering the pain of losing his son. 2 years ago, John's son died in an accident. John was in great pain and blamed himself. He thought he was the one who caused his son's death. To forget the pain, John tried to hide his emotions by wearing a mask of indifference and rejection. He always showed himself cold and distant to everyone. As the days went by, John felt more and more lonely and lost. He no longer felt interested in anything. He just wanted to be alone and immerse himself in his pain. One day, John met a therapist named Lori. Lori helped John open up and share his pain. John cried a lot when he told Lori about his son. He felt relieved to share his feelings with someone else. Lori was by John's side and helped him through the pain of losing his son. She helped John understand that pain is a part of life and it will eventually fade over time. John gradually regained his balance in life. He began to feel happy and joyful again. He took off the mask and lived with his true emotions. Conclusion. Pain is a part of life. We should not try to hide our pain. Share your feelings with those you trust. When you face pain, you will learn to overcome it and become stronger. Advice for those who are in pain. If you are in pain, remember that you are not alone. There are many people who feel the same way you do. Don't try to hide your pain. Share your feelings with those you trust. Give yourself time to heal. The pain will eventually fade over time. Here are some ways to help you cope with pain. Share your feelings with those you trust. Talk to friends, family, or a therapist. Seek help from professionals. If you are struggling to cope with pain, seek help from mental health professionals. Engage in healthy activities. Exercise, yoga, meditation, etc. are activities that can help you relieve stress and improve your mood. Take care of yourself. Eat a healthy diet, get enough sleep, and spend time with loved ones. Remember, you don't have to go through this pain alone. Seek help when you need it and you will get through this pain. Death is not the end. The second story is about Julie, a 33-year-old university professor. She was at the height of her happiness after enjoying her honeymoon with her husband. She also received the title of professor and was pregnant with her first child. But the dark clouds came unexpectedly. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. Julie went to see Dr. Lori for help to get through this difficult time. Facing the imaginary pain like hell, Lori did not comfort Julie with empty words. Instead, she discussed with Julie about whether to wear a wig or a scarf after chemotherapy, how to manage her marriage, how to resolve conflicts with her parents or in other relationships, and how to deal with her work. After a few months of active treatment, she received the good news that the cancer cells had been removed. To celebrate this, she and her husband went for a hot air balloon ride, holding hands together to watch the sunset at an altitude of thousands of meters. However, 6 months later, Julie came back to the clinic. This time she was very haggard because she received a diagnosis of another cancer. Julie's life was like a roller coaster, ups and downs, and no stable period. During the contact with Julie, Lori seemed to have experienced a life and death struggle and witnessed the impermanence of fate. The author Lori also cried many times and felt desperate. What should we do to avoid being controlled by fate? In the end, she also found the answer for herself. Life means uncertainty. The only way to fight against that uncertainty is to live in the present. That's right, the past is the past, the future has never come. The only thing we can definitely control is every minute and every second in the present. So don't let yourself sink into the past, don't be afraid of the future. Just walk down this path carefully and enjoy it. You can always step into your own tomorrow. Just like Julie, she was really challenged by fate in a way that was too unexpected and intense. But every moment in her life was full of fun and excitement. She really experienced life. She tried to be a cashier in a supermarket because she thought it was a practical job, being connected and helping people directly. Then organize a book club, help friends participate in the adult college entrance exam and interact online with students. She also planned to organize a unique memorial service for herself and say goodbye to the world in a personal way. More importantly, she helped Max, her husband, prepare a dating profile so that he could find a successful successor. Death is not the end of life, but forgetting. Julie left beautiful memories for the people she loved. The train of her life is still a long way from the end. Death is not death, death is not the end. That is the most important lesson in the life of each person. Let's look at the reality of the present. We are living in a process with only one direction towards death. Everything in the world is unpredictable. Many people always think that the future is still long. But how to guess if the next corner could be a lightning bolt from the sky? Instead of living in fear, it is better to let go of the attachments, courageously choose what is meaningful for yourself so that we do not have to regret when we are still alive or have to leave in pain. You are your own hell. Rita is 69 years old, and she looks younger than her age, but she walks slowly and weakly. Her life is a series of failures. She had an unhappy childhood with her parents, so she dropped out of school and got married young. She was happy at first, but her first husband soon became abusive. She wanted to leave, but she had no education or skills, so she felt she had to stay. At least it provided for her children, who had food, shelter, a car, and a good education. But then things got even worse. 4 of her children were troubled, 1 was addicted to drugs, 1 was in jail, 1 committed suicide, and 1 was struggling to cope. Rita finally divorced her husband, but she went on to have 2 more failed marriages. She spent her life working at jobs she didn't like. Her children were distant, and she often felt isolated. She would hide in her house, watching the neighbors next door with envy. She had never felt true happiness. Recently, Rita met a man who made her heart beat faster, but he turned to a younger woman before she could say anything. This made her feel even more insecure. So she went to see Dr. Lori for therapy. She felt that if her life didn't change, she would kill herself. In therapy, Rita would cry and not use the new tissues on the table. She would just keep using the old, wet tissues in her hand. Even when Dr. Lori offered her a new watch, she didn't dare to wear it. Dr. Lori thought that Rita had a deep sense of unworthiness. She felt that she didn't deserve good things, even something as simple as a tissue. This is called fear of happiness in psychology. It causes people to see the world through the lens of their flaws and feel abandoned, betrayed, and rejected. Like a sticky pot, people with fear of happiness don't let any joy in. But pain can stick and be hard to let go of. Rita's fear of happiness came from a deep sense of guilt. She thought she was a bad mother for not protecting her children from her first husband's abuse. Every time he hit her, she would hide in her room with a bottle of wine, trying to numb the pain. She thought that if she just closed her eyes and ears, the abuse would go away. But why wouldn't a mother protect her children? The truth is that she was jealous of her children. She was jealous that they had a good life, with love, siblings, and capable parents. These were all things she had never had. So when her children were suffering, she didn't help them. She just wanted to feel better about herself. Another story about lost freedom comes from Charlotte, a 25-year-old woman. She is stylish, graduated from a prestigious school, works at a financial firm, and has plenty of friends and admirers. But she says she is always anxious and exhausted from work, and she has a hard time relating to her parents. Her parents are alcoholics and serial daters. She sees her mother's shadow in herself. The men she dates are often like her father. Dr. Lori told Charlotte that she had two choices: keep looking back at the past and self-destruct, or face the responsibilities of adulthood and build a better future for herself. Charlotte chose to look forward and start her journey of transformation. It was not easy, and she often wavered and changed her mind. But gradually, she freed herself from the chains of her childhood wounds and entered a larger world of freedom. So remember, you are not free until you dare to face the past and heal your wounds. Finding the true meaning of life. The last chapter will talk about the meaning of life. The protagonist is the author of this book, a psychologist named Lori. She is over 40 years old and was suddenly betrayed by her lover. He said that he did not want to live with her children and then left irresponsibly. Lori was angry and called him a childish man. She could not accept everything. She was angry and sad. Finally, she went to the therapist's office of another doctor. Under the guidance of the doctor, Lori realized that the breakup was not the real reason for her negativity, but rather that the midlife crisis was much greater than the end of a relationship. Because at this point, even though she has passed her midlife, she still feels uncertain about the future. She was afraid that she would miss the last train of her life and that her life would become meaningless. In fact, Lori has been searching for the meaning of life in the first half of her life. After graduating from university, she worked in Hollywood and became an excellent screenwriter. She felt that she was writing meaningful stories. But when she participated in the production of a TV series about the life in the emergency room, she realized that the work of a doctor was more meaningful and great. So she gave up everything she had achieved and worked hard to get into medical school. But when she studied medicine, Lori became disappointed. Modern hospitals use a control operating model with a 15-minute appointment time, requiring doctors to treat patients based on cold machine data rather than paying much attention to the patient's feelings. Lori did not like the treatment process that was like a production line. So she decided to drop out and then tried to become a researcher in the field of clinical psychology and started counseling. In addition to counseling, Lori still persisted in writing books. She had difficulty with her writing. 2 years earlier, she had agreed with a producer that she would write a book about a happy life. But as a single mother struggling to provide food and clothing for her children, she found that she had no empathy or useful insights on this topic. Even if she finished it, it would be meaningless. And it was at this moment that the childish man appeared. He brought hope to Lori's life and helped her out of the vortex of meaninglessness. Perhaps this is the reason why Lori could not forgive him for leaving. Without him, she had to continue to face this meaningless work. Lori decided to finish the painful book of happiness as soon as possible. Then she started to focus on things that really mattered. So she spent 2 hours a day writing, putting speed first and quality second. However, when the book was only 1 chapter away from completion, Lori suddenly received an email from her ex-boyfriend. He boasted to her that a friend had started working at his company. Lori felt it was really out of place. Why did he suddenly brag about this? Isn't it over? Who cares about his friends or company? It was really incomprehensible and meaningless. But right at this last thought, Lori suddenly realized something. Isn't the book she is writing just like the meaningless email from her ex-boyfriend? If it cannot create empathy, cannot touch the hearts of others, then it is really meaningless. Lori did not want people to feel about her work after she died, just like she felt about the email from her ex-boyfriend. So she decided to give up the book and start writing about what she really cared about. She wrote about her experiences as a single mother, her struggles with the meaning of life, and her hopes for the future. She wrote with passion and conviction, and her words resonated with readers all over the world. Lori's story is a reminder that we all have the power to find meaning in our lives. We don't have to follow a predetermined path or achieve a certain level of success. All we need to do is to be true to ourselves and follow our hearts. Lori immediately wrote a letter to the publishing house to cancel the contract and erase it from her mind. At this point, she began to look for truly meaningful topics. Her passion for writing returned, free, relaxed and vibrant, like a strong fountain flowing in her. She said she had to write something that she felt was truly meaningful to her life, something that did not go against her true self. Thus, the book Maybe You Should Find Someone to Talk to was born, and from then on, this book has truly saved and awakened millions of people in the world. After reading this book, everyone will surely feel that life is not easy. Loneliness and death, loss of freedom and inability to find the meaning of life. We are all facing many challenges. We yearn for sharing but are afraid of being hurt. We are full of hope but afraid of the uncertainty of the future. We know we have to let go of the past but can't face the pain. So it's time, maybe you should find someone to talk to. You will see that there are books that write out philosophy, perspectives, and evidence with stories, and there are books that draw out beliefs and wake-up calls from stories. This book will belong to the second type. If you are inspired to read this book, it means that you have some problems in your heart. And it would be great if you could find someone to confide in. But if you can't find a suitable person, it's okay. Because the truth is, what you are missing is not someone like Dr. Lori who can help you face the past and offer advice to solve current problems. What you really need is courage. So, don't be discouraged if you don't have anyone to talk to. Because you still have what the author Lori conveys through this book and many other useful books. You still have videos with positive content like what Mybed is doing. You still have the bright things that are inherent in your heart, and you still have yourself. All are in one step, one thought. Be brave to choose a step to love yourself. I hope both you and I can be brave to open the door to liberation from the past to move forward gently. Even if it is little by little, it can also help us find the value and meaning of ourselves. Living in the present, more free, more understanding, more flexible in this impermanent life. Thank you for listening. If you find this video helpful, please share it with those who need it. Give me a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to watch my latest weekly videos. Thank you again and see you in the next videos.